Please click on the thumbs up button and the subscribe button if you enjoyed my vlog. Bye for now.
Well, you may remember yesterday we went on to Wintersett and we had to climb a huge embankment. Well, we're going to Wintersett Lake again, but we're going in a different direction. Now today I've got gloves on and I've got a jumper on, a body warmer on, a fleece on and my very old Berghaus coat on, and I've also got a woolly hat on. It's so cold. So here we are then, approaching the site from a different angle. We go down the path there, and then that embankment to the left is the one we came down last time. I think was it on part 2 of the film. Well, these teasels usually grow quite high. Why they're so short, I don't know. Unless he's had a chemical in there that's not agreed with. So I can go up there if I want. Well, it's dry today, so I might just risk it. Normally you would slip, wouldn't you? But to the right, just on that corner there, is a bank that drifts down onto the footpath. So I'm halfway up the embankment, which is quite steep, and this is what I'm seeing looking back, and here we are looking forward. So I've half the way to go again. So here we are once again, back on the Wintersett site. Behind me is cold Hienley, and I'll show you that. The yachts are out today. There's plenty of duck on, I think mainly coot. Again, the sheltering in the shallows and where it's not windy. Well, as I've said many times before, nature doesn't stand still, and you can see this embankment had to be cut back. Less of a fire risk, of course, and I'm wondering if it caught fire in the summer, you know, in the heat wave. We had 4 of them this year. May have done. And the footpath you can see there where my son is where I'm going to, where we'll be able to see Wintersett and Cold Hienley together. So here we are once again, Cold Hienley. Swing round. Light's getting poor already. And Wintersett. Now, I've mentioned before that you get some beautiful views on Wintersett, and what you do, you go over to the boathouse and then the sun sets on the water, and it is a wonderful sight. It always bothers me that people can't take their bottles home with them. They're heavy when they come, light when they're going home empty, so why can't they take them home with them? In a month's time from now, November, you'll probably see hundreds of Canada geese on here, and more swans of course, and there'll be lots and lots of ducks. The ladies on the horse just passed me. I've stood to one side so they could get through. A little bit difficult for me, I'm afraid, but they were in single file and they did thank me for my help. So on the Wintersett site, when it gets too full, there's a culvert. No, it's not a culvert, it's a spillover, and you can see that it goes under the bridge. Been here for a long time. Certainly when I first came here it was there, and I've been coming here about 60 years now, 50, 60 years. Yeah, I got it wrong in the last video. I've been coming here since for 60 years, I said 50 before, and that's Cold Hienley, and the water goes into Cold Hienley, and when that gets too full, it goes into the spillover we saw yesterday where the grey wagtail was. So do you remember in the previous videos I spoke about Dennis, the warden? Actually he was a water bailiff. I just keep getting the words wrong now and again, particularly like today. Well, this is because it's very cold, as I mentioned. In fact, I've changed 3 lots of batteries just in a short period of time. They're reading flat, and I think it's the weather conditions. But this is the path he would take, and as I said, 3 times a day. You know, he was a very fit man, and that of course, looking back to Wintersett where we've just been. And I'll just show you I'll turn it around and show you the other side. And of course this is a path at the other side where my son is, and he would walk down there right to the end, to the main road, cross over the road, and then up to the long drive to his home, which belonged to the NCB. So 60 years ago, this is one of the paths I would take. It's across a farmer's field, but it's actually a public footpath, and he ploughs it every year simply because it's easier for him. And at the other end of this footpath, I've noticed there's now bungalows on there, and there were never any houses there. I should also mention that to get from the main road up across this path, and Dennis the water bailiff would have had the same problem. When the field had been ploughed, it was very, very difficult to walk over. Sludgy, you needed Wellingtons, and sometimes it was so bad walking, the mud came over the top of my Wellingtons, and it made treacherous conditions for walking. Sometimes you got stuck as well, and you had to pull the Wellington out of the mud. Thankfully those days are over, but of course I was young then, I could do it, I was as fit as a lop. Prior to that, by the way, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, when I was 18 years of age, I lived at Blackpool, and I taught myself to swim in the sea, and I became a lifeguard, a voluntary lifeguard, so I was always very fit. And it's only since, I would say, the last 10 years I've not been as fit as I would have hoped I could be. But anyway, that's just a bit of history about. So that is actually the house where the water bailiff used to live. And you know, when he walked round this site, he could be out walking 2 hours. Now when Dennis retired, a man used to come round on a bicycle, and then he didn't stop long, and then a man used to come round the site on a motorbike, and he didn't stop long either. And then after that, of course, you had to go somewhere to buy a ticket. And I'm not sure where you get them from now. You might have to go to Wakefield to get your daily ticket, and I don't know who checks them either. But anyway, that's where he used to live. So yes, I mean, looking down at this side, we would be looking up at before when we were on Cold Hienley. It gives you an idea how big the site is, doesn't it? How big the area is, and how far Dennis had to walk on his daily runs. And don't forget, he did 7 days a week, and bank holidays as well. Hailstone, rain or shine. So earlier on in the film, I filmed some teasels at the side of a farmer's field, and I said how small they were. Well, look at these. They must be about 6 foot high, I would have thought. Right down to the water, look. I must admit, I don't usually see teasels growing by the side of the water. Well, there's a lot of blackberries here. I'll show you. Loads and loads and loads. Once again, I don't think they've done very well because of the dry conditions, but somebody has got down the embankment, and they've tried to collect some by the look of it. So there must have been some there, but they aren't out of the wind there, so they won't.
You've got to do 12 weeks.
Yeah. What a lovely sight that is, sun shining through there on this shadow, it's wonderful. So here we have nettles in flower. Would you believe that? Wow, not often you see it, but well worth finding.